We all know that AI is good at Google searching, but what if we put 3 of the most powerful AI head to head to see if it can make a cookie? That's exactly what we did here. Welcome back to the Cookie Edit. We're going to find out which AI you should use if you want good recipes. Jumping right into video criteria, I will be judging each of these cookies on a few things. One of them being if the cookie tastes good, probably the most important. The second being if the AI actually understood what I prompted it. Additionally, I will not be taking any extra steps. I will add and do whatever the AI tells me to do, but if I see that a recipe might be going wrong, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to see its final result. Starting off with ChatGPT, I prompted it with make me a single serve cookie recipe, and here it comes. This actually looks like a really good recipe right off the bat. This has everything I would put in a cookie. So we're starting off by adding some butter. And then we're going to add brown sugar. After we add in our white sugar, we're going to whisk it. I found that this was really easy to combine. Next, we're going to add an egg yolk, just an egg yolk, not the egg white, and some vanilla extract. This is looking to be a very good cookie so far. I would not have done anything differently. It does look a bit yellow at this stage, but I think that's just because we had to add a full egg yolk. Now we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour and some baking soda, an 1/8 teaspoon, and salt. Also salt. Don't forget salt. And then we're going to mix. I had a little bit of trouble mixing this whisk, and then I checked the recipe and it said to fold it, so I started folding it, and then I just used my hands because that ended up being the easiest. Next, it added 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips, and I also mixed that together. Next, the recipe said to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 12 minutes. That's exactly what I did. And when this came out of the oven, it looked amazing. Okay, so jumping right back into our second AI of the day, Google Gemini. Now, I gave this the exact same prompt, but when it generated, it looked almost identical to ChatGPT. So this one started with adding butter and both sugars. This one had a little bit more brown sugar though, and some white sugar, obviously. Then I mixed it for about the same amount of time. And then the vanilla. I noticed something weird about this one. There's no egg in this recipe. Yeah, this is strange. I would have never done this if I made the recipe. So I'm adding the flour here, still hoping it's going to turn out. And I started mixing this. Well, it's looking very dry, but maybe it'll come together. So I added the chocolate chips. I struggled trying to get these combined and into a ball forever. Like, this would not stick together. Eventually, I got it into a ball, and I put it into the oven. Came out looking like a brick. So, after the epic fail that was the Gemini cookie, I was really hoping that DeepSeek would provide something better. So I typed in the same prompt that all the ones I got, and this one looks interesting. It looks a lot different than all of the other ones because it has like a full note section on the recipe. This one also calls for you to bake it in a ramekin. I'm so curious about this one, so I'm so excited to see if it'll be good or not. It's definitely taking the longest to generate out of all of them. So, putting the butter in the ramekin. This one's interesting because you mix everything in the ramekin. So we have our butter, brown sugar, and white sugar in the ramekin. I'm just going to mix that around a little bit. And this one calls for you to use a fork instead of a spoon or anything, which I also thought was interesting. Next, I add an egg yolk. This one did have eggs in it. And I mix that in. one I'm very curious about because it didn't have as much baking powder in it. It only had salt. So I don't know if that'll make it so it'll get like really dense and it won't rise. I guess we'll see. This one is so simple. You just add chocolate chips after this, and this is looking like such a good recipe. I mean, if this works, this could be amazing. You're only using one dish. So I put it in the oven, and it came out looking pretty good. Now that all of our cookies are baked, we get to enter the final showdown. How do they taste? So it is time for the taste test. We're starting with ChatGPT. And this cookie was amazing. It tasted like a bakery style cookie. It was so good. It was perfectly cooked through. Yeah, I would eat this every day. It was amazing. I think that ChatGPT both understood the assignment and had a great cookie. Now, I'm going to cut it open to see if the center is baked through. And wow, that is perfectly baked through. Yeah, I mean, it was so good. So, moving on to Gemini next. This looks like a dry block. Gemini was kind of a dry block. It was a little bit more moist when you got into it. But I think Gemini understood the assignment, but the output was not great. But this was an okay tasting cookie. It was more the texture of shortbread and less the texture that I would expect from like a warm, moist chocolate chip cookie. So, yeah, Gemini was okay, but not great. And looking at the inside, like, of course, this was baked through. It was like a block of flour. So, trying DeepSeek. As a disclaimer, it was not very good when I went to try it. It just felt very oily. But after letting it sit on my counter for like 5 hours, it ended up being more the texture of a cookie that night. I think that for DeepSeek, it didn't quite understand the assignment because I asked it for a cookie. This was more of like a brownie texture, but it did deliver better than Gemini did. I think it goes without saying that ChatGPT won this competition. However, I think that you could do a lot more testing on this, and I'd be open to baking more baked goods with AI, so comment down below what you'd like to see me try next, or if you'd like to see me try it again. I also think that using AI to make recipes doesn't make a ton of sense unless you're using it to like refine your own recipes, because for about everything you'd want, you can probably just look it up on YouTube or Instagram and like find a creator who has made a recipe. Thank you so much for watching. This video was a ton of work, so if you'd like or subscribe, that would be amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. This was the Cookie Edit Ultimate AI Baking Showdown.